All right, welcome back, Kings and Queens. Today we are talking Bryan Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger was sentenced to 4 life terms in prison today without the possibility of parole. If you're not familiar with Bryan Kohberger, he is the coward. He's the coward that committed the Idaho murders. He murdered cowardly took the lives of four Idaho students that were there at a university. I'll give you a rundown of who he is, but this will never bring back the children to those families that lost their loved ones. This is just the beginning of healing for them. Because you have to think about it. When someone is viciously and brutally taken away from this earth in the manner that he stalked him like he was an animal, y'all. Go back into your research. This coward, this monster, this predator stalked those children, those young adults for over 6 months because it's believed to have been said just because he had a crush on one of the girls that was in the house. And not only that, he suffered from low self esteem and he utilized his autism diagnosis as a crutch to be able to go out into the world and hurt innocent kids, innocent victims, y'all. The family ate today. In their victim impact statements, they spared no expense. They left no stone unturned. They ate his ass alive as they should have. We're going to go through all of that. For those of you who are just tuning in or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience.
Subscribe now.
This guy, Bryan Kohberger, was sentenced to 4 life terms in prison. He received 1 count of life for each life that he took. Fair. Fair, 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 more than fair. He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. For the rest of his life. And like I said, this can never bring back the loved ones. This is just the beginning for these families to start to heal. Because when you think about if and when somebody is brutally snatched away from this earth, the healing doesn't start immediately. You have to go through all of this process, this legal process. And fortunately for the families, it's hours after he committed these horrendous murders, they had his DNA. Okay. Fortunately for them, there wasn't an extended, like this long waiting period, like some families are still waiting. But y'all, the obsession was real. This man was sick in his head, obsessed. And you have to be very careful with people who don't like you, people who envy you or jealous of you, people who want and need your attention that are jealous. Because this is exactly what this led to. And for those of you that are not familiar with Bryan Kohberger, let me just give you a quick rundown. He was a PhD criminology student at Washington State University when he was arrested in December of 2022 and charged with the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. I don't want to say her name wrong. I'm going to say Kaylee, I'm sorry. Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Zaina Coronado, and Ethan Chapin. The 4 students, y'all, they were found stabbed to death. They lived off campus in a rental home, beautiful house in November of 2022. Actually, I believe it was November 13th. Y'all, he started stalking them in June or July of 2022 when the investigators, after, this brutal, horrible murder, there was actually 6 college students in the house. One was on the lower level sleeping, and there was another young lady in the home that actually heard something, opened her door to check. Wasn't sure if she heard it, closed the door, opened it again, didn't see anything. And the final time she opened it, she was staring the killer right in the face. And she was the one that was able to give the description that he had very bushy eyebrows. And she's riddled with guilt. She feels so guilty because she didn't do anything and she went back to sleep and she just stared him in the face and she froze. And he went through like these glass sliding doors towards the back of the house and she just froze up, right? And got back into bed. And only to wake up the next morning and find out that her roommates had been brutally murdered in that home. Man, that has to be tough, right? For all parties involved. But anywho, he pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary today. into today, Wednesday, July 23rd. And he did so as a coward would do to avoid a death penalty sentence. He was subsequently sentenced to four consecutive life sentences without parole, plus 10 years, y'all, for burglary. He's not coming out. Yeah. So it took a 6-week investigation. And they utilized his DNA that he left at the scene. You're going to hear a little bit about that because I am going to play the victim impact statements that Kylie's family left, and they tore his behind up. You hear me? And I don't blame him. He had previously studied criminal justice at DeSales University, where he earned both his bachelor's and his master's degree. And some are saying that he fixated on serial killers, Ted Bundy, and he fixated on committing the perfect crime. This all comes down to low self-esteem, y'all. Insecurity, the need to dominate, power, and take control because he felt like he was overlooked. He felt like girls were not attracted to him. You see what I'm saying? Now, they're saying that the motive for the murders remain unknown because he declined to speak at his sentencing. And he has never bothered, the arrogance of it all, he has never bothered to offer an explanation for the reason he did what he did. This case garnered a lot of attention, and it really impacted that college town. I mean, to this day, the family has shared that some of these survivors and their other children can't even sleep alone. They still have issues sleeping. But I want you to hear the victim impact statements. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on. So a little bit about the victim impact statements. It was a combination, right? It was the surviving roommates and families of the victims. They delivered very emotional statements. I wish I would have gone to this court hearing, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it. Um, it was held in Boise, Idaho, and he was given, like I just said a couple of seconds ago, when given the opportunity to speak, he declined. And also, let me cite my source as CBS News, right? Kohberger pleaded guilty earlier this month to the murders of the 4 college students in order to escape the death penalty. Let me ask you, Idaho, is there a reason you just didn't give him the death sentence? I know, y'all. I know court and legalities don't work like that, but in this case, I want them to. I want them to. He was in a courtroom today wearing, according to CBS News, an orange prison jumpsuit and listened as the families of the victims confronted him with powerful statements. When I tell you they whooped his ass like he deserved to be whooped, the hearing lasted about 3 hours with more than a dozen family impact statements. Um, Again, Chapin, Coronado, Mogan, and Goncalves. I hope I'm saying her name right. Is it Han or Goncalves were killed at a home in Moscow, Idaho during the early morning hours of November 13, 2022. Listen, check this out. Right before he murdered those kids, they had just ordered DoorDash. There was a detailed, dedicated timeline of what happened leading up to their deaths. They came in, they were out, they hang out like most college students did. They came in close to, I think it was close to like 3 a.m. They ordered DoorDash. DoorDash delivered their food, I do believe, between the hours of 3:30 a.m. and 4 a.m. You could see on a neighbor's ring cam his car going back and forth that they caught on the ring cam. Approximately 4:13 a.m. he entered into that home. Now, I'm going to assume that the doors were unlocked, and being that you can tell these kids felt safe. You could tell that in this town, this college town, no one ever expected to happen, what happened on November 13th, 2022. Those kids had just gotten their food, just probably laid down after eating their food. And here he comes and he goes into the different bedrooms and he starts to slaughter these kids, y'all. Okay. He was arrested in his parents' home in Pennsylvania 6 weeks later. And prosecutors said that if the case had gone to trial, they would have used DNA evidence that linked him, Kohberger, to the crime scene. His online purchase, he went to Amazon. He went to Amazon and used a gift card to purchase the knife, the weapon used at the scene. He actually left a knife sheath behind, which is how they found him, and also his DNA. So he was so focused and fixated on being the perfect killer, the perfect predator, that he made a lot of mistakes. And the victims, their families, highlighted this in their impact statements. So there's surveillance video that they were able to capture of his car and cell phone data, y'all, that showed him in the vicinity of the killings. But not only that, that metadata that they were able to pull from his cell phone also showed that he stalked those kids. He stalked those young ladies for months, 6 months to be exact. 6 months. Same time in the wee hours of the morning, between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. He would go by their homes. It took him 6 months to build up the courage to take their lives. And to date, his motive is still unknown because this coward refused to talk. Okay. Judge Stephen Hippler spoke emotionally for several minutes before sentencing Bryan Kohberger. He called Kohberger a faceless coward and said he was in great awe of the family members who had given statements. He also criticized Kohberger for failing to show remorse or regret about this. Or regret about the slayings, which is true. When I show you and share the videos from TMZ, watch his face. Look at his non expressive face as the families issue their statements. Now, he's doing everything in his power, y'all, to sit there and look at them head on. And I feel like it's a show of dominance, it's a show of arrogance, and it's also somewhat of intimidation. But I'll go through that in just a second. The judge said he could not legally force Kohberger to explain why he had committed the slayings and said he did not believe Kohberger would answer the question truthfully either way. There is no reason for these crimes that could approach anything resembling rationality, Hippler said. No conceivable reason could make any sense. And in the end, the more we struggle to seek explanation for an unexplainable crime, the more we try to extract a reason, the more power and control we give to him. In my view, the time has now come to end Mr. Kohberger's 15 minutes of fame. After speaking, Judge Hippler sentenced Kohberger to 4 consecutive sentences of life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was also sentenced, like I said earlier, to 10 years in prison on the burglary charge, just in case, the judge said. He falls through the loopholes. Let me tack on 10 years. Kohberger did not react after the sentence was read out. For each charge, Kohberger was also charged $50,000. He also owes a civil penalty of $5,000 payable to the family of the victim. Good luck. I don't think you're going to get anything, but I understand. Kohberger will be required to submit DNA as a part of the plea deal. Hippler said. You know why? They want to go back and see if this freak, if this weirdo has done this before and gotten away with it. Smart move. I'll be tuning in. I'll be following. Kohberger has waived his right to an appeal, but can file a notice of appeal, Hippler said. Though that notice might violate the plea agreement. 2 hours. It was 2 hours that they dedicated. Thank you to the judge. To statements read by loved ones of the victims. The first victim impact statement was read on the behalf of Bethany Funk, who lived with she was a roommate. Okay. So let's go over hers. Let's see if we can find hers. Give me 1 second. Real quick, I forgot to tell you this. I think I said it already. So Bethany is one of the roommates that did survive the ordeal. Both Bethany and Dylan lived on the first floor of the residence during the murders. Okay. Dylan slept through it. Dylan slept through it. Dylan is a girl, actually. I take that back. Please pardon me. Dylan is a girl. They were all girls and one boy in the house. Dylan slept through the entire ordeal. Bethany, in an unsealed police report, shared with police that she opened her door 3 times because she heard a noise. She also heard crying. Okay, she thought she heard a noise and she heard crying. And the noise she heard, she thought it was Kaylee playing with her dog. There was also a dog in the house. And she heard somebody said, she thought she heard someone say something like, "That's okay. I'm going to take care of you, or I won't hurt you." Something along those lines. So the third time that after she heard crying, she opened her door and she shares with the police in unsealed documents that she saw a figure dressed in black clothing and the mask. The mask covered the person's mouth and nose, and that person was walking towards her, but she could see that whomever it was had very bushy eyebrows. The following morning, so she closed her door, got back in bed, did not call the police for whatever reason, y'all. And I cannot come down hard on her. Who knows? Those kids probably were out having a good time. She could have been like, drinking. But the following morning, she woke up and she and her other roommate to find the other students fatally stabbed to death. And I'm sure this has been very, very traumatizing on her.
What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take them from the world, he took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive?
And that's a portion of her statement, and it goes on a little bit longer. What I would like to do is go to the next victim impact statements. Here we go.
Today, we are here to finish what you started. Today, you've lost control. Today, we are here to prove to the world that you picked the wrong families. The wrong state, the wrong police officers, the wrong community. You tried to break our community apart. You tried to plant fear. You tried to divide us. You failed. Instead, your actions have united everyone in their disgust for you. I just learned from these lead investigators, to their shock, they worked in an investigation and actually worked with Pennsylvania police officers and the federal FBI. You united everyone. Everyone was united after you. We were united in our disgust and our love for these children. Today, you have no name. Because when this all started, we all came together and we said, let's stop even talking about his name and just use initials. So even the media just calls you BK. That's all you are. Within hours, we had your white car on the camera. We knew from the very beginning we had you. Police officers tell us within minutes, they had your DNA, like a calling card. You were that careless, that foolish, that stupid. Master degree, you're a joke. Complete joke. The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but two initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to the pen. That will be today or tomorrow. I'll close with, God bless all the men and women that worked on this case and all the hard work that you guys did. You guys allowed us to grieve and allowed us to get through this. The amount of work that you guys put together and the way that you guys put it together was beautiful. There was hard times to be expected, but thank you all. God bless.
I never imagined having to speak to someone so devoid of humanity. For a long time, I didn't think I'd find the words low enough to meet you where you are. But now I realize this isn't about you. It's about what you've done to me, and I need you to hear it. When you murdered my daughter, Kaylee Jade Gonzalez, you didn't just take her life, you shattered others. You attacked what you could never be, and in doing so, you left a trail of devastation far beyond that house. You stole my peace. You've altered my every waking moment, every sleepless night, the way I view the world, people, safety, trust. It's all been changed by your cruelty. As a person working on a PhD in criminal justice, you really didn't think this one through. You're not that good. In fact, you're not that good at anything. You couldn't secure a job. You couldn't get along with others. You couldn't even get a female to look in your direction. All because you are pathetic. Now you're a joke in this courtroom. I wish I could crown you with a jester hat to complete your orange jumpsuit clown look. A dead killer doesn't kill again. So while I'm disappointed the firing squad won't get to take their shots at you, I'm confident that the men in prison will have their way with you in more ways than one. You will finally get what you wanted, physical touch. just probably not how you were expecting it. You are entering a place where no one will care who you are and no one will ever respect you. You will be forgotten, discarded, used, and erased. You will always be remembered as a loser, an absolute failure. And when those prison doors slam shut behind you, I hope that sound echoes in your heart for the rest of your meaningless days. I hope it reminds you of what we all already know. You're nothing. May you continue to live your life in misery. You are officially the property of the state of Idaho, where your fellow inmates are anxiously awaiting your arrival. But it's okay, because they're there to help you. Hell will be waiting. Quick message. Aubrey wanted to say, you may have received A's in high school and college, but you're going to be getting big D's in prison.
And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words. And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be. Why did I get to live and not them? For the longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse. And I was still here when their kid, their siblings, and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. I slept in my parents' room for almost a year. I made them double lock every door, set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened.
He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them to make them proud.
I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears. I won't offer you trembling. Disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast. Instead, I will call you what you are. Sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day. How was your life right before you murdered my sisters? Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th? Did you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? If you were really smart, do you think you didn't win? You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. The scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your